welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Oh, it's early morning. Let's give you back. Here, I got a little bit more light. Like I need more. Anyway, today, current blood sugar is at 7.8, fully calibrated. Basal rates, looking pretty good, pretty constant throughout the night. Had a couple corrections. So as we see, again, after midnight, I was at 10.7, but then through the night, I brought it down to 7.8. Pretty good. Now let's take a look at time and range. I'm calling it close today. My time and range is 76%. 70 is the cutoff of a very bad day. So 22% above, 76% in range, 2% below 3.9, and 8.8. This is starting to creep up again. So we need to get it a little tighter control. Now let me just do one thing. Today, I want to discuss. Yeah, that's a little better. There we go. Today I want to discuss hemoglobin A1c over 10%. We'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Now, if you're a diabetic and you go and you get your blood drawn to get a hemoglobin A1c, results can mean a couple more things than they do for the average human being. Hemoglobin A1c is just to see how your treatment of diabetes, whether it be your body or medication. So for me, type 1 diabetes, years we used hemoglobin A1c. Hemoglobin A1c is kind of being pushed away. It's still being used for those who are on multiple daily injections, whether it be pen or syringe and insulin. Hemoglobin A1c is now being replaced by time and range. And you see me refer to this a number of times. So time and range It's a wonderful thing. But it really gives you a snapshot. This here on my phone is just for the last 24 hours. It constantly changes throughout the day. You could wake up and say, oh my God, I've got a terrible hemoglobin A1c. In a couple of hours, it gets better. So, wonderful. Time and range, not hemoglobin A1c, sorry. Now, if a person still goes and gets a hemoglobin A1c, one of two things. It's usually because of the type of delivery system they use for insulin. If it's by insulin injections, you will have a certain amount. If it's by, there we go. If it's by pumps, time and range is more the acceptable notion. Okay, done with biology for today. If you go in and you get a diabetes test, whether you're type 2 or type 1, 5.7 or below is considered to be a great hemoglobin A1c. It means your body is doing what it's supposed to. I recently got a hemoglobin of 5.4. That's odd for me. I'm usually a 6'2". So, but to get it, I was low a lot of times. Now, while hemoglobin A1c is an average, this just hits how many times during the day were you in a normal range. That's all time and ranges. But hemoglobin A1c, if you're over 6'4", I believe, you're considered to be a diabetic. Between the 5'7", I think it is, and 6'4" is called pre-diabetics. Now, an awful lot of this is done for type 2s, but type 1s usually get, oh, you're diabetic or you're not a diabetic. So, for those of you who are trying to manage your blood sugars, hemoglobin A1c of below 7 is acceptable. But anything above 10, there should be warning lights going off. And what that's telling your doctor is your blood sugar is way out there for an average of 3 months. And what you need to do is you need to get into a regime. People call it control. We never really get total control of diabetes. There's so many variables. And this was the only test that could tell us that. But if you're up around 10, that's a fail. That doesn't mean, oh, well, I can't do it. No, that just means time to get going. Let's get it lower. And let's make you a better person. So, how do we do this? Well, one, you see your doctor, and he or she will have some better idea. Now, years ago, it must be 1983, 1984. I, it was 83, because I had just graduated high school. And I went to a GP, and I saw him, and he said, okay, great. And I don't remember if he sent me for a test or Dr. Hunt sent me for the test. I don't remember how I met up with Dr. Hunt. But anyway, I went from a blood sugar of 6.2 up to 15.9, down again. And Dr. Quirk, who was my real doctor's name, was starting to freak out, and I got the call at home, but he talked to Dr. Hunt, and it was decided I needed to go into the hospital and let's get things sorted out. We did get things sorted out, but it wasn't a couple of years till Mr. Lightbulb went on here. And I hope through these videos that I'm getting you to turn on your light switch and see how important control is. So, a hemoglobin A1c of 10% equates to around 13.3 millimoles per liter. Now, I think that's around 250, between 250 and 260 on milligrams per deciliter. Any number above that, you need to really start watching your blood sugars. Now, we can have numbers that are concerning below that, but a hemoglobin A1c of over 10% is a massive bells. That means you're going around with your blood sugars. You're probably drinking and going to the bathroom quite a lot. I can remember the amazement. I was working, I was doing a lot, and my blood sugar would constantly be up. Well, partly because of this clown. And my blood sugar never really settled down. Partly because of me, partly because I believe of my labile diabetes. So, what do? Well, we have to work on bringing it down slowly. And your doctor, your endocrinologist, will come up with ways, whether it is doing multiple injections, using pens, which a lot of people found a lot more convenient and easier, especially if you're in high school and you have a pen, people just think it's a marker. But most of the time, the pump is the standard. And if you go on the pump, you can take a look and you can see if you're on the sensor with the pump, the time and range numbers. And that's the time and range numbers that we're talking about. It converts average what your average sugar should be. So my average for the last 24 hours is 8.8. This isn't too bad. Any low for, at the time, is low for a type 1 diabetic. But on the whole scheme of the whole day, just 2%. So, 1% is equal to 15 minutes of you being at that level. So 2% tells me that I was at that level for half an hour. And you can figure out how much time I had at the others. This is about a quarter of my day. I was above 10. And I know some people saying, well, it's better than having a hemoglobin of 4. But at any hemoglobin of over 10, you need to be a little bit more on the ball. If your doctor takes it or schedules a hemoglobin A1c, they're not behind the times. You're probably just on shots. I don't believe there are many CGMs just being used with shots, because nowadays we're concentrating on ensuring that people are switching over to CGMs. It's easier. The results are more accurate. Your doctor can see you. They can dial in. Now, with the 780 and what was the other number? The 770G pump and the 670G pump were compatible and sending in your blood sugars. That's how we get the time and range. Your doctor can pull up your CareLink site and see what your blood sugars are doing up to the time this pump sets to send. And that works as long as you have a internet availability with the Wi-Fi connection. Here, this is always going up, or uploading, going up. So ensure, if you get a test higher than 10, make sure your doctor is probably going to get in contact with you. You're probably going to end up going to an endocrinologist if you haven't already. And if you are, you can probably expect you're going back. Don't settle for the super high. For diabetics 7 and below, you're in the manageable range. Can't speak to sporting dairy. But 10 is sort of the limit. And you're going to have to buy in. For your health, you're going to have to buy in. You're going to have to get a good control number. Your doctor will work with you. You'll probably be sent to a diabetes education center. And if you are a diabetic already and your doctor is using hemoglobin A1c and it comes back at 10, I can almost bet that you're going to have to see a diabetic nurse, an endocrinologist, and they're really going to put you on a program. 10%, no, no, no. Workable is below 7%. Ideal is below 5.7. That's normal. And if you can maintain without having lows a normal blood sugar all the time, great job. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. Your doctor and you can work and come up with a plan. And with that, have a great day. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.